Go to bed.
Yes, please confirm. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Please confirm if I am audible to you. Please confirm if I am visible to you. क्या आप मुझे देख पा रहे हैं? Because आज हम we are going to start the marathon session of cost and management audit. The much awaited marathon session. The much awaited, guys. Yes. Please confirm if I am audible to you. Please confirm if I am visible to you. क्या आप मुझे देख पा रहे हैं या नहीं? Chat box में I need a confirmation. Please confirm if I am audible to you. Yes, yes. Okay, I got a confirmation. Yes, yes, sir. Audible and visible. All right. सर थ्योरी रिटेन नहीं हो पा रहा. मैनेजमेंट ऑडिट पढ़े नहीं है. अब जब पढ़ोगे नहीं तो फिर थ्योरी रिटेन कैसे होगा? ऑल राइट. यस गाइज, let's start our marathon session of cost and management audit. And in this particular session, we are going to revise the entire cost and management audit in great detail, guys. The idea of this marathon session is to provide you a one-stop solution for revising the cost and management audit subject of your syllabus group 4 in great detail and to cover all the important aspects of your paper. Honestly speaking, the possibility of scoring 80 plus marks in this particular paper is absolutely 90%. Yes, 90% of you can score 80 plus marks in this particular paper, because this particular paper is it just revolves around the four corners of your study mat. There is there is no other source from where the institute can actually pick up a question and put it in your examination. There is no other source which is available for this particular paper, and that is the benefit that we are going to derive from this particular subject by revising the entire syllabus to the core. Every look and corner of your institute study mat, we are going to revise that. We are going to revise the MTPs, RTPs, and all the last examination question papers. We are going to revise that also. That is the objective of this particular marathon session, which has been curated exclusively for CMA Final students, Group 4 for Cost and Management Audit, 100 marks paper. All right, sir, got it. So let me tell you some brief about this particular batch which is being started. So brief snapshot of what are we going to give you in this particular batch is in front of you. Number one, we'll have all the important topics which are there in your syllabus. All the important topics will be covered in this particular session. Okay, so we'll have all the important topics coverage. So the first point is that we'll cover all the important topics. Approximate coverage will be 70 to 80% of your entire syllabus. So all the important chapters of your syllabus will be covered. 70 to 80% means that in examination, the chapters which cover higher weightage will be covered in this particular marathon session. So we'll be covering the entire syllabus in a very smart way, which means we are going to touch base upon category A and category B chapters. And guys, this is my own prudence. This is my experience. This is my findings of analyzing the entire syllabus and teaching cost audit students for last 15 years. So out of that experience, I have jotted down certain topics, certain chapters which are very, very important, which I'll be covering in this particular marathon. You can rest assured that this marathon is going to be your one-stop solution for a revision of cost and management audit. We'll be dealing with theory as well as practical aspects. Now, one myth which students have about cost and management audit is that it's a theoretical subject. No, guys, cost and management audit is not a theoretical subject. You please pick up any paper of past year's examination. At least bare minimum 30% of your paper is absolutely practical, where you are required to solve a practical question. 30%, yes. 30% of your paper is absolutely practical. So a myth which is there in students' mind is that, sir, entire subject is theory. Guys, that is not true. Entire subject is not theory. It is the practical and theoretical portion both are combined together, and theoretical portion also will be covering in this particular marathon lecture. Practical portion is also being covered in this particular marathon lecture. So we'll have a wholesome revision of the entire subject, theory as well as practical aspect. This marathon will be approximately of 25 to 30 hours. Okay, if I feel necessary, if I feel really important, I will cover 1-2 more subjects, chapters also. So this might get extended by say 2 hours or 3 hours. Okay, please don't think that this is arced in stone. That's 30 hours means 30 hours. You cannot give marathon for 31 hours. Guys, please be flexible. If I think that 2 hours are more required or 3 hours are more required, this is just an approximate estimate which I've kept. But yes, we'll be covering more or less. We'll be covering the entire syllabus within this particular stipulated hours. I don't want this marathon to be extending to say 80 hours or 70 hours, so that you get to waste a lot of time. So we are not going to do that. So time will be limited. Soft book, PDF book will be provided to all of you for the marathon lecture, and that will be provided in printable format. Chart book to cover the entire syllabus within few charts. Yes, entire syllabus of cost audit covered under the few charts. Entire chart book will be provided to you in PDF format, which is printable format. You can get it printed from any photocopier machine and use it. So that will be provided to all of you. This marathon lecture will entirely be in English language. Please understand that the aim is to give benefit to entire country, even South Indian students who are there as my subscriber of my YouTube channel and who are subscribing to my classes. I want to extend the benefit to those South Indian students also. And even to North Indian students, guys, you have to write the paper in English only. You don't have to write the paper in Hindi. So it's better to get accustomed, to get comfortable with English language. So yes, this entire marathon lecture will be recorded in entirely English language, 100% English language. So that is a feature of this particular marathon lecture. And one very important caution point, okay? Many students are asked, since the time I have launched this marathon lecture, many students have been asking me, sir, will we, is it sufficient to just cover the entire cost and management audit using this marathon lecture? Can we skip the regular lectures we have bought from you? Can we skip the regular lectures? Guys, please understand, CMA is a professional examination. And in a professional examination, the rule is that you cannot skip anything. So please understand, this marathon, cost audit marathon, is not a substitute for full batch. So if you are planning that, oh sir, we'll skip the full batch now, we will not take the full batch, we will only purchase your marathon lectures and we will be seeing the marathon lectures only, sir, we'll be scoring good marks. Guys, again, you are taking a big risk in that situation. My recommendation would always be, this marathon lecture should be used as a supplement and not as the full batch. It is just a supplement. It is just to supplement your main batch, your main classes. It is just to supplement it. It is not a substitute to the main batch. So please don't skip the full batch. Full batch is definitely required. This marathon batch is just to assist you in the last moment revision of the entire syllabus, so that at the last moment we can revise the entire syllabus and revise it quite quickly and focus only on the important aspect, just to boost up your percentage of marks. That is the focus, that is the aim of this marathon lecture, and not to substitute the full batch. This is not a substitute to the full batch. Please remember this particular aspect. So ideally you should complete the full batch. First you complete the full batch and then you should come upon this marathon lecture, so that you are reinforcing your knowledge which you have acquired in the full batch. So this is the brief description of the cost audit marathon which we are gonna start today. And yes, please join the WhatsApp group which has been created for sending you the PDF of the book. Please join that WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group is available on the mobile number 9643 929913. In this WhatsApp group, I will be interacting with each one of you personally. I'll be using voice notes. I'll be guiding you through. Test series is provided free of cost for all the CMA students in this particular phone number as well. So please join this WhatsApp group, and there I have today morning only I have sent the PDF book. I hope you have got the PDF book. I have sent the PDF of the the chapters that we are going to start today. So please have access to this WhatsApp group. It's really important to be part of this WhatsApp group. So yes, after you become part of this WhatsApp group, you'll get plethora of other things as well. Till your examination, I'll be with you to guide you through cost audit as well as SPM BVM. That is also on my radar. I'll be guiding you through both the subjects. Please join yourself in the WhatsApp. Now, the students who are watching this lecture after it is recorded, okay, if you're attending live, nothing like it, okay. Live sessions are always the best. Queries will be resolved in a live manner. All your doubts will be resolved in a live manner, and the interaction will really be fruitful, okay. So if you are attending live, nothing better than if you are attending live. But if you are not attending live, and if you've taken the recorded batch of the marathon lecture, then in your app the PDF will be stored. App where you are accessing the marathon lecture, over there the PDF book will be stored. You download the PDF book and the chart book from the app, and you can get it printed. So yes, this is the brief about the entire marathon lecture which you are going to start today. And yes, cost audit is definitely one of the most important chapters, most important topics of your syllabus, and most important subject of your syllabus. And yes, cost audit is somewhere connected to us as well. How is cost audit connected to us? So okay, before I start about the cost audit, let me tell you a very frank confession, okay. A teacher is confessing to the students a very frank confession, because we are starting the cost audit marathon batch today. So a very frank confession, guys. Cost audit is majorly theory. So all you have to do in cost audit is to mug up things, okay. You have to just remember things as it is, verbatim. You have to mug up things. You have to learn the theory as it is and reproduce in the examination. That is the aim, that is the objective of this particular subject known as cost and management audit. It is all theory, majorly theory, and therefore to remember majorly theory, you need to have those mugging up skills that is required to score well in the examination, because if you write it in your language, then that will be a problem in the examination. So in the chat box, I would like to know whether your mugging up skills are good or bad, okay. In the chat box, I would like to know whether your mugging up skills are good or bad, because if you say that, sir, our mugging up skills are bad, then I'm also going to give you tips on how to improve your mugging up skills, okay. If it is bad, then please write in the chat box that, sir, our mugging up skill is bad. Please write in the chat box. Let's see who all admit. And guys, we can admit to each other, okay. I am your teacher. So, you should not hide anything from doctor, from lawyer and your teacher. I'm also your mentor and guide. So don't hide anything from me. Be very open and be very frank, okay. Bad, very bad. Sahil is saying bad. Abhiraj is saying bad. Manisha is also saying bad. So usually girls have a good mugging power. Huh? Please don't say this. Huh? Pratik Jan is saying bad. Just Cheddha is saying bad. Okay, almost all the students are saying it's bad, mugging up power is bad. So now, how will we deal with this subject called cost audit? It's all theory. How will we deal with it? Guys, let me start by this particular myth which is there in your mind. Let me bust this myth which is there in your mind, that cost audit is a pure theory subject. All you need is to mug up in cost audit. This is a big myth which is there in all the students who are there in CMA Final, and the myth extends to a level that cost audit is entirely theoretical. Cost audit is not entirely theoretical. I've already told you 30% of your paper will be purely, at least 30%. It can go up to 40%, guys. Will purely be practical, where you need to solve practical questions, and the rest 60% will be theoretical. So first of all, cost audit is not a theory subject. And now to top it all, if you just mug up theory of cost audit, you are not going to get good marks, because in cost audit, case study based questions are asked. In cost audit record rules, even if you have mugged up the entire rule, case study questions are being asked. Case study type questions will be asked. So that is very, very important, that you need to understand the provisions and not mug up the provisions. So even if your mugging skills are bad, no problem in it. There is no problem at all. It's okay, because we don't need mugging up skills in cost audit. We don't need it. Mugging up skills are not required. All we need is logical, interpretational and analytical skills. Your analytical skills should be perfect. Your logical reasoning skills should be perfect. Your analysis should be perfect. And the idea behind taking this marathon lecture, and that too live, just emanated from the fact that I want your analytical skills to be perfect. I want your logical reasoning skills to be perfect. So please don't worry. All the students who have said, sir, our mugging up skills are bad. We are very bad at mugging up. We don't know how to mug up. All the students who are saying this, please, mugging up is not required in cost and management audit. It's only and only understanding the depth of management of any company, the depth of cost accounting of any company, and that requires your logical reasoning. It's as practical as SCM, strategic cost management. Yes, this subject is as practical as SCM or strategical cost management. So don't worry if your mugging up skills are bad, that's really okay. You'll be good with this particular subject called the cost audit. All right, now let me brief you about this particular subject, which is cost audit. So yes, guys, any profession wins, and the first reason why any profession wins, because professionals are rare in the country, okay, and any professional wins because of only one reason, and the reason is that there is some sort of monopoly, there's some sort of authority which is given to that particular professional, which is not given to anyone else in the world, and that is the reason why a particular profession wins. For example, medical profession. Only doctors are allowed to do operations. Only doctors are allowed to treat the other patients. You and me cannot treat other patients. You and me cannot be a doctor and do operation. Okay, today morning, I wake up and I, call up my friend who's a doctor. I say, no, today you don't do the operation. I will do the operation. I will do the surgery. It is not possible. I cannot do surgery. I cannot operate. Similarly, a lawyer is the one who can represent before the High Court or the Supreme Court. You cannot represent before the High Court or the Supreme Court. Only a lawyer can represent before the High Court or the Supreme Court, because the ultimate authority, the only one person who can do this is a lawyer. He is a designated person who can appear before the High Court or the Supreme Court. Again, there's a monopoly which is being created over there. Only lawyers can do this thing. Only doctors can do this thing. Only engineers can do this thing. Similarly, our profession which are related to commerce, which is chartered accountancy, cost accountancy, company secretary, all these professions have got their own respective monopolies. They have got their own, their own subjects where they excel in, and they are the sole and whole operators of that particular profession. Similarly, guys, we as cost accountants, we as CMAs specialize in and monopolize in this subject called the cost audit. So if any company of the country needs to get their cost audit done, then the only person who can do cost audit is CMA. That is you and me. Yes, you will be becoming CMA shortly, but that is you and me. Only CMAs can have the power and authority to conduct cost audit. This is the monopoly which only we have. This is the exclusive right which only we have. No other person in the world has this right of conducting cost audit, and that is the best part of this particular subject. I just love this subject. I love teaching this subject. When I started this subject 15 years back, I was wondering, this subject is not being taught anywhere else. What is the value of this particular subject? What is the future of this particular subject? But over the period of time, I realized that this particular subject is quite critical for any company who is maintaining their cost systems. And yes, cost systems are being maintained by every company these days, because cost control is a critical factor in every company. Every company wants to reduce its cost. So cost audit is again relevant for all the companies which are there in the entire world. So the monopoly which is created by this particular subject, and I want to say this by raising my collar, okay? I will raise my collar in pride, in privilege. I will raise my collar, and yes, it's my pride and privilege to tell you that this particular subject is monopoly of only and only cost accountants. Only CMAs can conduct cost audit of any particular company. There is no other professional who is authorized to conduct cost audit for any company. It's only and only CMAs, and therefore this particular subject is our subject. We should have a special attachment with this subject. At least I have special attachment with this subject. Since the time I have started teaching this subject, I have developed love for this subject. I am in love with this subject for a sole reason that this is exclusively mine. This is exclusively mine. Coming out of our emotions, coming out of our emotional backlog, let us start the subject. The name of the subject is Cost and Management Audit. Now I want all of you to comment in the chat box. Have you ever heard this word cost, or how do you understand this word as? What do you mean by cost? Okay, You are a cost accountancy students. Please remember, you are a cost accountancy students. You are doing CMA. So a basic thing that I'm going to ask from you is, what do you mean by cost? What is the meaning of the word cost? In the chat box, I want your answers in the chat box. What do you mean by cost? What is the meaning of the word cost? Shubham says, sir, I am CMA inter student. Your charts help a lot. DT, thanks for your lovely charts. Shubham, don't worry. In Cost Audit also, I have prepared such charts, and in Cost Audit also we'll be dealing with the entire subject with charts, and those charts will actually be very easy to remember, very easy to revise, and in your examination you'll be able to use these charts to a very great extent. It will be really a good must have for you for your examinations also. Don't worry about that. Lagat, okay. CMA solutions, I said lagat, okay, that is cost, definitely. Any kind of source is the cost. Any other person who can define cost for me? What do you mean by cost? So let me tell you what is cost, and pretty much pretty much defined by CMA solutions. I don't know what is your actual name. What is your actual name, so that I can tell you actual name also. Lagat. Lagat means all the resources which are used to produce a particular thing. Because ultimately in a manufacturing concern or in a service sector, we use a lot of inputs to generate outputs. So all the important inputs that are required to generate the output, that is known as cost. Whatever we incurred, very good. Expense which is required to produce goods or providing services, very good. Value to produce something, very good. Okay, your name is Rohit. Okay, Rohit. So anything that is there to produce is known as cost. And what do you mean by costing? Yes, costing. That is one of the subject of your group 3. So costing means identification, classification, measurement, assignment, and preparation and presentation of cost. That is costing. So whatever expenses that you have incurred, whatever resources you have consumed to produce a particular product, how do you identify them? How do you classify them? How do you measure them? How do you assign them? How do you prepare and present their cost sheet? That is costing. Okay. So we have understood the word cost. We have understood the word costing. Now let us understand the word audit. Now let us understand the word audit. What do you mean by audit? Audit means it has been derived from a Latin word which is audire. And audire means to hear and listen. So in the initial days, in major parts of Rome and pretty much major parts of France as well, there was a custom. There was a custom. So government used to collect taxes from people. And government used to call the people at their place, and government used to ask them, how much sales have you done during the year? So that person tells the government that yes, for this particular month we have done sales of this units, and this much is the income that we have generated during this particular month. And after hearing to their story, government used to tell them that okay, pay taxes of this and this amount. This was the entire process that used to be followed back then during Roman civilization for collecting taxes and for even checking the authenticity of whatever is being told to them. So to hear or to listen is the real meaning of word audire. Nowadays, since it is Kali Yuga, it is not Satyug, so people don't say truth. They usually lie. So in today's world, it is not possible to complete the audit only by hearing or by listening. We should actually complete the entire audit by using a documentation, by using a process which is foolproof, where even if someone is lying, we don't accept his words, but we want proof of everything. We want documentation of everything, and that is what audit is all about. So audit in modern world is all about verification, review, examination, appraisal, and checking, and to express an opinion on the cost statements, of any big organization. That is known as cost auditor. If you audit financial books, it will be financial audit. If you audit tax books, it will be tax audit. If you audit GST books, it will be GST audit. So whatever books you want to check, the audit becomes that audit. So to express an opinion is the major part. Yes, we have to mandatorily express an opinion after conducting an audit. That is a required thing. So primary and ultimate aim of audit is to express an opinion. And very, very important, auditor should be independent. Auditor should be independent. Independent means unbiased. Auditor should not have any kind of bias. Auditor should not be tilted towards the client. Auditor should not be, biased towards the client. Otherwise, he will not be able to do audit. So auditor has to complete his audit, complete his entire, process of audit in a very, very seamless manner with an independent, bend of mind, with a really, open bend of mind and an unbiased bend of mind. He should be truthful. Auditor should be truthful. Auditor should not be, telling a lie. Auditor should not be, tilted towards the client. So it should be a independent audit. So if you combine these two words, cost and audit, then you'll get cost audit. So what do you mean by cost audit? Cost audit is nothing but, we see the definition of cost audit. It is an important definition. A system of audit for review, examination and appraisal of cost accounting records. So yes, what is cost audit? Cost audit is accounting, the audit of review of examination of cost accounting records and the attendant information required to be maintained by specific industries as mandated by applicable rules and act. So whatever is required to be maintained by the act, whatever is required to be maintained by the rules, we just audit the cost accounting records, and that is known as cost audit. Another definition, cost audit is an independent examination of cost statements, cost records and other related information of the entity with a view to express an opinion. So to express an opinion, we are auditing, we are examining the cost systems, cost statements, cost record and other related information of a particular company. That is again known as cost audit. So do we have to remember both the definitions? No. Just remember one definition. Anyone, either this or this. Any one definition you remember, and that will be all. This is the definition of cost audit. Next, scope of cost audit. Now, before coming to scope of cost audit, let us see what all do we analyze in cost audit. What all do we verify in cost audit? So, cost audit should verify cost accounts, cost records. Now, sir, what do you mean by cost accounts and cost records? We'll be having a law on it. We'll be dealing with it. We'll be understanding what is the cost record and cost accounts. We'll be dealing it in shortly. Cost accounting plan, we need to construct a cost accounting plan. We need to see the cost accounting treatment of a particular thing in our books of accounts. So, for example, there's prime cost. It contains material, labor, we have overheads. Then we have direct cost, indirect cost, factory cost. All the costs are there. We need to see whether the cost accounting treatment of a particular cost is appropriate or not. That is the second requirement. Then cost of production of sales is to be audited. And then after analyzing, after verifying all these things, we'll express an opinion on the cost accounts. We'll express an opinion on all of these things to the cost, to the management of the company. We'll express an opinion in all of these things. That is the ultimate aim of the cost audit. So that is how cost audit is, constructed. Now, what is the scope of cost audit? Scope of cost audit means to what extent can cost auditor go? Can cost auditor also analyze the GST requirements of a particular company? Answer is no. Whether GST compliance is done by the company or not, whether cost auditor can check that? No. He doesn't have to check that. Whether he can check whether income tax is paid on time or not? No. Cost auditor is not required to check that. Whether income tax is paid on time or not, whether TDS is paid on time or not. Cost auditor is not required to check all those things. So what is the scope of cost auditor? Which all areas are to be focused by a cost auditor? That is known as scope of cost audit. Scope means where should cost auditor focus? What all things should cost auditor see? What all things should cost auditor analyze to really express an opinion on the cost accounts? So now we are going to see scope of cost audit. And yes, you can parallelly jot in your questions in the chat box. I'll be reading the chat box after every 10 minutes or so, and I'll be responding to your questions. For any consideration paid for acquiring any facility. Very good answer. Cost is an expenditure, actual or notional, incurred or attributable to a given product. Very good answer. At that time, there was no concept of documentation. That is the reason they used to listen. Very good answer by Rohit also. Back then the Roman civilization did not have any concept of documentation. That is why they used to only listen and complete the audit. Very good, answers. Okay, the students who have joined through app, even they can jot down their questions in the app itself. I am seeing both the chats. I am seeing the YouTube chats as well as the app related chats. I am seeing both of them. So those students who have joined through app, they can jot down their questions in the app. There's a live chat room in the app itself. Okay, sir, got it. So yes, while we are actually watching this lecture, guys, I would definitely request you to like this lecture so that it reaches to maximum CMA students, and maximum CMA students are benefited from this live session of Cost Audit Marathon. So please hit a like button, all the students who are watching this live marathon. So what is the scope of cost audit? Scope of cost audit is number one, to ensure the accuracy of cost data. So the first and foremost focus of any cost auditor is to see that cost data is right or not. And please tell me in the chat box, what do you mean by cost data? What is the first thing that you see if you think about cost data? What is cost data? Please tell me in the chat box, what do you mean by cost data? What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear this word cost data? Because first and foremost scope of cost auditor is to ensure the accuracy. Accuracy means correctness of the cost data. Cost data should be correct. Cost data should be perfect, and that accuracy should be maintained by the auditor. So cost data should be perfect. So ensure the accuracy of cost data. Please tell me in the chat box, what do you mean by cost data? What is the meaning of the word cost data? Please tell me in the chat box. Next, assess entity's performance. The second scope of cost and management audit, because management audit is also included in this particular audit, we need to assess whether the decision making power of the top management is perfect or not, because only the decision making power will ensure that the entity's performance is good. If the top management is taking wrong decisions, entity's performance can never be good. Second and important scope of cost audit is to assess the entity's performance, whether entity is performing up to the mark or not. And how do we ascertain whether entity is performing up to the mark or not? We ascertain it by comparing the entity's performance with our peers, with our competitors. We see whether competitors are performing in the same manner or not, whether competitors are underperforming or overperforming. We compare the results. Also, we compare the past year's results to the current year results to analyze the performance of the entity. Very good answer by Sahithi Louis, very good answer. Cost sheet. The first and foremost cost data is cost sheet. Yes. As a cost auditor, the first thing that I will be asking from the client is cost sheet. Please give me your cost sheet. I will analyze your cost sheet, whether you have completed the cost sheet in an appropriate manner, whether cost sheet discloses the relevant costs like material, like labor, like overhead in the respective heads or not, whether there's any error in the classification or not. I will see all of that stuff. So the first and foremost is cost sheet, definitely. Efficiency and improvement of the entity, whether entity is efficiently utilizing its resources, whether the entity is appropriately managing its resources well or not, whether there is any wastage, because we as cost accountants are very particular about wastage. Wastage should not happen on any kind of product. Wastage should not happen. So efficiency and improvement is third thing that we need to see as scope of our cost auditor. Cost control is of course a very important element of cost audit. If the management is not controlling the cost appropriately, then it is responsibility of the cost auditor to suggest the management corrective measures of controlling the cost. Yes, it is an added responsibility which is given to the cost auditor. So cost audit is not only about auditing, whether checking whether it is right or wrong, even suggesting improvement points is also a point of cost auditor, is also a added value addition that cost auditor is expected to give to the company. So cost control, including element wise cost, is a scope of cost auditor. Then determine the sales price and margins. What are the sales price, what are the margins, and determination will be done by company itself. We need to certify whether it is accurate or not, whether it is correct or not, whether company has done some hanky-panky stuff to inflate the profit margins, whether company has done something wrong to unnecessarily increase the profit margins. That is the thing that we need to see. Then help in decision making. Cost audit definitely helps management in decision making, in taking critical decisions, like if a product is underperforming, product is not performing well, product is giving us losses, then can we discontinue that product? So such kind of decisions are taken by cost audit report. Whatever is the cost audit report, that forms a basis of taking such decisions. Yes, decision is taken by the management, but to assist management in taking the decisions, we take help of the cost audit report. So it helps in making decisions, or cost auditor helps in making decisions. Then setting standards and budgetary cost controls. I hope you have already done your standard costing, which is there in SCM, right? It sets standards, it sets benchmark that this is the maximum cost that we can incur for this particular thing. So cost auditor can actually help the management in setting standards and to control the cost according to the budget, whether budgets are being followed or not, whether the budgets are being created or not by the company, and whether the company is following those budgets or not. This will be an important important element of any cost audit report. And cost audit report, after reading cost audit report, the management should get some actionable insights into what is to be done and what is not to be done, whether budgets are to be followed or not, whether budgets are being followed or not, and what are the steps that we need to do to follow those budgets, to control the cost. All these things are a scope of cost auditor. Minimizing waste, of course, if our resources are getting wasted in unnecessary things, if our labor is being underemployed, or it is misutilized, then all these things are to be highlighted by the cost auditor. So cost auditor is actually like a consultant. It is a consultant. It's a cost consultant to the company. Cost auditor is not only an auditor but also consultant to the company. So that aspect you need to really remember. These things are related to cost auditor. The next is accuracy of inventory valuation. Yes, this is a new add-on and we'll be dealing with it in great detail in our discussion also, that inventory valuation now statutorily is required to be done by the cost auditor according to the Income Tax Act. Income Tax Act 1961 has inserted a cost just 2 or 3 years back, has inserted a clause in Income Tax Act 2-3 years back where cost accountant is required to verify or attest the inventory valuation which is done by the company. So I have done a lot of audits in my past, in my career. I've done a lot of audits, and in all those audits I've seen very peculiar things. Okay, so I'll tell you one very live example which happened with me in one of the statutory audits, guys. The management gave us the balance sheet and gave us the profit and loss account. In the balance sheet, they did not fill the closing stock figure. We asked the management, why have you not filled the closing stock figure? Because balance sheet is incomplete without closing stock. Why haven't you filled the closing stock figure? So management told us that, we have 3 methods of valuing the inventory: LIFO, FIFO, weighted average. LIFO is not permitted, still we have FIFO and weighted average. What we'll do is, we'll see what is our profit. You conduct an audit entirely. We'll see what is our profit after using both the methods, and wherever the profit is more, we'll use that method. We want to inflate our profit. So because inventory valuation is subjective, if you change the method of inventory valuation, then valuation changes. Since that is the scenario, guys, the people are very skeptical about inventory valuation, and therefore this specific activity of valuing the inventory is given to cost accountants by the Income Tax Act 1961. So yes, valuing inventory is also a very important scope of the cost auditors. This is how the scope of the cost auditors is defined in the act, as well as whatever is the general understanding. This is a general understanding of cost of the scope of the internal of the cost auditor. So what is the scope of the cost auditor? Ensuring accuracy of cost data, entity's performance, overall efficiency improvement, element-wise cost is to be taken, sales price margin, decision making, budgetary control, minimize waste, accuracy of inventory valuation. Now next is, so what are the benefits of cost audit service? Why should anyone get cost audit done? Why is cost audit required? So guys, simple as it is, competition is so fierce in today's market that just a variance of 1 rupee, yes, just a variance of 1 rupee in your pricing can lose your contract. You can lose contract even if your price is less or more by only 1 rupee. You can lose that contract. The pricing is so competitive, the market is so competitive that everyone wants to win and everyone wants to make sales. And to make higher sales, in the race of making higher sales, people actually compromise on the costing bit of it. They don't do costing properly, just to show to the world that our pricing is less. Okay, just to show to the world that our costing is less. In such a competitive world where the pricing is actually cutthroat, it is really important to have a mechanism where cost accounting is done properly. Guys, direct labor, direct overhead and direct material cost, they are different kind of cost, right? But just to manipulate the cost, I should not have the authority of disclosing my material cost in labor cost. Should not have that kind of authority. So who tells me that no, your direct labor cost should go in direct labor only? Who tells me that? Cost accounting standards tell me that. And cost accounting standards are being followed by the company or not, this is determined by the cost audit. So now it's very simple. In cutthroat competition, we really need to ascertain what is the cost, and to ascertain the cost we need cost sheet. I need to audit that cost sheet. So cost audit is really required to ascertain any cost. So objectives of cost audit is, number one, it verifies the cost accounts and the cost accounting system. We need to have accurate cost accounting system. We need to have accurate cost sheets, so that we are able to understand what is the profit margin, what is the price at which we can sell this particular product. To understand all these things, we need accurate and we need exact cost accounting being done, and to ensure that cost accounting is done accurately, we need cost audit. So that is the first and foremost role which is played by cost audit. That is the first objective of cost audit. Okay. So guys, advantages and objectives are actually overlapping. Some of them are overlapping also. Okay. So you can actually use some of the advantages and objectives, and some of the objectives and advantages. It is little bit overlapping, which is okay. Okay. Direct and indirect costs are incurred for production of a product. Okay, great. List of expenses, Rohit says, and information about them. Very good. Rohit Raj. Perfect. Any information about them? Perfect. All right. Yes. So now, what are the objectives of cost audit? What are the objectives that we follow in cost audit? What are the things that we need to do in cost audit? Number one is verify cost accounts and verify cost accounting system. That is the first and foremost objective that is followed by any cost auditor. We need to verify the cost accounts, whether cost accounts are prepared well or not, whether they are prepared under the guided formats, whether they are prepared under the guided rules and regulations which are being propounded. So that is the first and foremost thing. Compliance of cost accounting records and cost accounting standards. So cost accounting records, rules are to be complied with, and cost accounting standards are also required to be complied with. So both the compliances are required as an objective of cost audit. To detect error and fraud. Now it is really required by an auditor to detect the error and fraud. Errors are required to be detected and frauds are also required to be detected. Now what is an error? Error is an unintentional mistake, a mistake which is unintentional. We did not intend to make this mistake, but this mistake had happened. So error is the unintentional mistake that is required to be culled out, that is required to be pulled out. And fraud is an intentional mistake where you were intending to make that mistake. It was a deliberate fraud. Okay, so to detect error and fraud is an objective of cost audit. Very, very important. Now over here, I would like to discuss about this fraud thing, guys. Okay, sometimes this fraud thing becomes a little tricky, because to analyze the fraud is the second objective. It is not the primary objective. So since it's the secondary objective, auditor should understand that auditor is not an investigator. He cannot investigate into fraud. Yes, he can analyze fraud. He can, analyze what is happening. He can analyze whether the things are going fine or not. But he cannot investigate. He cannot wear the hat of Sherlock Holmes and wear the hat of any other investigator and investigate in fraud. So I'll tell you a live example which happened with me when I was dealing with a company, and how I culled out some fraud and how I got carried away from an auditor's mode to an investigator's mode. I was an auditor, but I was no more an auditor. And that point in time, I got carried away and I got into the investigator's mode. So there was this company where I was presented with purchase bills. Okay, the company has purchased material from various other companies, and I got the purchase bills. Now this particular company where I was doing the audit, this was into motor part manufacturing and selling. They used to manufacture motor parts and sell it. Okay. So purchases would typically mean, even motor parts being purchased and sold, raw material being purchased or sold. So typically purchases were that kind of a purchases. Okay. Now I saw some bill where it was written that the company has purchased some, banners to be put in entire country for publicity. Marketing expense. This was the marketing expense. The CFO told me, sir, this is the marketing expense. Maybe the classification is wrong, but this is a marketing expense. We have purchased banners to be put in entire country to publicize the products of our company. Now, this was a question raiser in my mind. Why? Because this industry was a B2B industry, business to business. Motor parts were being sold obviously to the industrial use, to industry it was being supplied. So, there is no logic in having banners that display your industrial products. Industrial products are never advertised through banner. This was a doubt which was raised in my mind, and I was a little skeptical about whatever the CFO was saying, but I kept mum, I kept silent. I analyzed more such invoices, I analyzed more such payments which were done by the company, and the payment aggregated to say about 2 crores, total 2 crores. I analyzed all the invoices. When I analyzed all the invoices, I found something fishy in every invoice. In every invoice, there was something fishy. In every invoice, there was something which was not making sense, which was not making sense to me. So out of my emotional, conduct, because every human being is an emotional human being, I started giving cold calls on those numbers where the invoices were from. I called up one of the enterprises and asked them, sir, I want, banners, I want canopies. So they told me, no, we don't supply banners and canopies. We are into supplying plastics. What are you saying? I think you are mistaken. Now I got a hint that these invoices of marketing are fake. I got a hint. I did not stop here. In one of the invoices, I went to the shop to inquire whether this particular shop sells banners or not. I went to the shop as a fake customer. And over there also, I got the same reply. No, we do not supply any banners or something. We are a stationery manufacturing shop or a stationery trading shop, and we supply stationery. That's what is being that was what was being told to me. I was very much sure that I have culled out a fraud of 2 crore rupees. I proudly went to my manager in my firm and proudly narrated the entire story to him. Also added a few instances which did not happen, that I did this, and I told everything to him, and I got a big scolding from him. Why? Because doing cold calls is not allowed for an auditor. Auditor cannot do that. Going and inspecting and investigating yourself is not allowed to the auditors. Auditor cannot do that. Auditor cannot go somewhere and inspect. Auditor cannot do that. So that is how we need to take care that we are the auditors. We are not the investigators. We are not fraud investigators. We are the auditors. So we need to take care about our limitations. Okay. Yes, we need to find out frauds. We need to actually see what are the kind of frauds which are happening, but we need not investigate into them. Okay. Okay, sir. Then proper ascertainment of cost units and cost centers. What should be the cost units and what should be the cost centers? Ascertainment of cost units and cost centers is again an objective of the cost auditor. Inventory valuation, as I've already told you guys, this is the new area which has been given to the cost auditor, and the cost auditor can actually enter into this particular stream, inventory valuation, and as soon as cost auditor enters into inventory valuation, it will value the inventory to the core. Janam Khan is saying quickest way to lose a job. Very true. If an auditor has entered into the periphery of investigator, auditor can lose his job because it is not auditor's scope to do investigation. Very true. Okay, so inventory valuation is the next objective of cost audit. Fixation of prices of goods and services. Whatever goods and services are regulated in the country. So many goods and services are actually regulated in the country. By regulated, I mean there are strict laws which are surrounding those goods and services, and those laws restrict pricing of that particular good. For example, medicines. Medicines like paracetamol. It's a basic medicine which is required by everyone. It's most commonly used medicine, paracetamol. When you are having high fever, you take paracetamol. Now, paracetamol price cannot be fixed by the company on its own motion. Government controls that price. Government of India has a limitation on that particular price. And that Government of India whatever limitation Government of India has, the company has to fulfill that limitation, which means that beyond a particular price, this particular company cannot sell paracetamol. Any company, guys, any company, be it Mankind Pharma, be it Ranbaxy, any pharmacy cannot sell paracetamol beyond a particular price. It is fixed by Government of India. And how does Government of India fixes the price? It fixes by taking the cost which has been incurred by the paracetamol, by the company, manufacturing company. They add up a reasonable percentage of profit. That is how price is determined. Again, involvement of price is there. So whenever you fix price of a particular goods or a service in a regulated sector, regulated means sector which is controlled, the pricing is controlled, then we need cost audit, because cost audit will only tell us what is the cost of that particular goods or services. Then reconciliation between cost accounts and financial accounts. As all of you are aware, cost accounts and financial accounts have different ways of recognizing expenses. In financial accounting, expenses are recognized as soon as they are incurred. As soon as they are incurred, cost is recognized. But the cost is recognized in cost accounts as per the standard costing, and the variances are treated. Abnormal cost is treated separately, normal cost is treated separately, variances are treated separately. Okay, so now to reconcile the difference between cost account and financial accounts, it's really important to follow cost audit. Cost audit will tell us what is the costing profit, and then we are going to reconcile it with the financial profit. This reconciliation is essential. Why? Because there's a difference between financial accounts and cost accounts. And the chat box, I would expect all of you to tell me what are the reasons why profit as per cost accounts is sometimes different from profit as per financial accounts. What are the probable reasons? I want in the chat box. Please tell me in the chat box. Then did this mechanical company get a forensic audit later? Yes, absolutely. We reported the fraud to the CFO. We reported to the fraud to the board of directors. We reported the fraud to everyone, and then they got the forensic audit done that was happening in the company. And then it was realized that the marketing manager is doing the hanky-panky stuff. The marketing manager was raising fake bills in name of the company, and he was putting money in his own pockets in an unfair manner. So marketing manager was actually held to charge. Yes, very good answer by Manisha. Accrual basis they follow. Very good. Accrual basis they follow. Non-cash expenses. So non-cash expenses are there in costing as well as financial accounting. So there are many differences between financial accounting and cost accounting, and we'll be doing a practical question of reconciliation also, because guys, mandatorily practical question is coming from reconciliation of cost accounts and financial accounts. Mandatorily this is coming. Okay. Optimum utilization of resources. This is another objective of cost audit, that we will ensure that there are minimum wastages in the cost accounts and in the working of the company, and there should be maximum profit. That is how we'll ensure that the cost accounting is done appropriately. Then finance charges and not cost related items in cost sheet. Very good answer. Very good answer. Finance charges and non-cost related items are there in cost sheet. So finance charges are not there in cost sheet. Finance charges are not there in cost sheet. Oh wow. Very nice. Someone has created a YouTube channel by my name. Name of the channel is CSCSCMA Nikkhil Gupta Sir. Very good. A channel being created in my own name, and I'm not even aware about it. Who has created this channel? CSCSCMA Nikkhil Gupta Sir. And this channel is messaging me only in my live session answers to my question. So it's like me answering to myself. Wow, very good. Who's this very intelligent person whose channel name is CSCSCMA Nikkhil Gupta Sir? Very good, very smart, very chalak bro, very chalak. Valuation of inventory. Yes, valuation of inventories might be different. Basis of accounting can also be different. Therefore, reconciliation is required. Optimum utilization of resources. Resources should be utilized optimally. Of course, check abnormal loss of material and time. If there's any abnormal loss of material and time is being wasted, you need to check that. Inter-firm comparison. To make inter-firm comparison, to make comparison in our two of the firms, that is required by the cost auditor. Then corporate governance. Corporate governance is the this is a new thing which has come in Companies Act 2013, which requires the auditors to also check whether company is ethically doing things or not, whether ethically things are being done or not. So when ethically the things are being done, it is reported under corporate governance. in the Companies Act. So that is also responsibility of the cost auditor. Ethics means, whether employees are being treated well or not, whether shareholders are being treated well or not, whether you are behaving well with your shareholders or not, whether queries are being resolved or not. That is the aim of corporate governance. So corporate governance is one of the objectives of cost audit. Then coming on to the advantages of cost audit. Price control is the first advantage of cost audit. Cost audit ensures that price is under control, because cost audit ensures that cost is under control. If cost is under control, then obviously price will also be under control, especially the regulated prices which are controlled by Government of India. Like I've told you, drugs order which says that certain medicines should be kept at a lower price. Certain medicines should be kept at a lower price. So that is the advantage of cost audit. Rohit says, is ESG related to cost governance? Just an inquiry. Yes, ESG is also related to the corporate governance only. ESG. Okay. Overcharge na ho. Yes, overcharging should not be happening. Communicating cost information to the stakeholders. Stakeholders should be aware that what is the cost information, what is the profit which is being generated by the company, whether cost is inflated or not, whether cost is deflated or not. All these information are to be given to the stakeholders. So communication of cost information to the stakeholders, again an advantage of cost auditor. Assess and appraise the performance of organization. What is the entire organization's performance, whether it's going fine or not, whether cost is appropriate or not, whether profit is being earned appropriately or not. This entire analysis is to be done by the cost auditor. Induces best practices. So advantage of cost auditor is that, see, cost auditor is an experienced person. When cost auditor is an experienced person, he will also recommend the company that, okay, your competitor companies are, or other companies are doing this kind of a cost control mechanism, you should also do it. Okay, that kind of information can be given by the cost auditor to the company, to the organization. So that company is doing this, or your competitor companies are doing this, or other companies are doing this, you should also do this. This kind of information can be given by the cost auditor. Cost auditor always induces best practices. Best practices means best way of doing a thing. How can this thing be done in a best possible way? Least cost, maximum benefit. That's the objective of cost auditor. Meet customer expectations. How to meet customer expectations? Improve resource utilization. Guide on product mix and investment decision. All this can be done by the cost auditor. And I've already told you that cost auditor is not only an auditor, he's also a consultant to the company. He's also an advisor to the company. Cost auditor, takes two roles in a company. He's a consultant as well as a cost auditor. Detects wastage and inefficiencies. If there's any wastage of resources, like material is getting wasted, employees sitting idle. So any kind of wastage and inefficiencies curbed by the cost audit. Protects against allegation of dumping. What is dumping? Dumping means that, sometimes foreign governments, what happens is the developed countries sometimes flood the underdeveloped company or the undeveloped countries by their own products, by selling them initially at a very, very cheap price. This is actually being done by China a lot, okay? But I guess China is a different case altogether. I'll explain why. Now, what is dumping? Dumping means that country A is exporting goods to country B at a price which is even lower than cost. So why would a company do that? Why would a company incur losses? So we are dealing with the concept of dumping, okay? What do you mean by dumping? So what is dumping? This is country A, this is country B. Country A, country B. So what happens is, country A is exporting goods to country B. The cost of production of this particular good is rupees 80 and the sales price of this particular good is rupees 70. So country A is incurring huge losses. Country A is incurring huge losses. It is cost of production is rupees 80. It is selling at rupees 70. So why would country A incur such huge losses? The idea is to destroy the local markets of country B. The local markets, the local artisans are destroyed. Their businesses are required to be, they are expelled from the country. Their businesses are closed because they are incurring huge losses. Because whatever they produce, they are going to sell at a higher price. But they are selling at a lower price. So the local market of country B will get destroyed. And then what will happen? After a few years, when the entire market is destroyed of country B, the prices will be raised to 170. the prices will be raised to more than double. This is the strategy which is being followed by certain countries to destroy markets of other countries. And this strategy is always curbed by anti-dumping duty. This strategy is known as dumping. This is the dumping strategy. And how is it curbed? It is curbed by imposing anti-dumping duty. So what will country B do? Country B will add in the cost in the selling price, it will add rupees 20 as the anti-dumping duty and will require the product to be sold at rupees 90. So 80 rupees is the cost, 10 rupees should be the reasonable profit. So at 90 rupees at least the goods are required to be sold. That is how the principle is of dumping. This is the principle of dumping. So we follow the principle of anti-dumping duties, and anti-dumping duties are imposed for this particular thing. Okay. Now there's a country called China. Okay. We are all aware about the country called China. And there's a very important fact about China. It's a very important fact about China. What is that fact? So in case of China, what happens is China's cost of production of a particular product is rupees 50. And China is selling this product at rupees 70 to India or to any country. Now, the local artisans who are preparing the same product, they are preparing the product at rupees 90. Their cost of production is rupees 90. So they feel that the government of the country B feels that China is exporting the goods at a price which is lower than the cost. However, in China, cost of production is only 50. They have been able to reduce the cost of production. So please tell me one important document that China can produce before the government of country B that can prove that no, we are not charging less than cost. Our cost is less. What is that one document that can be produced to government of the country B to prove from China that no, we are not selling below the price. We are not selling below the cost. Our cost is less. What is that one document? Please tell me in the chat box. Please tell me in the chat box. What is that one document that can be shared by China with any government, guys, with any government? Very good answer. The document is cost sheet as audited. It is the audited cost sheet, which means checked cost sheet. So cost auditor should assign this cost, and cost auditor should tell the government of country B, look, government of country B, their cost of production is less. They are not charging less. This is not dumping. This is not dumping. To prove anything against dumping, to prove that you are not dumping your goods, the cost audit report is very, very useful. So it protects against the allegation of dumping. That is how the cost audit report protects against allegation of dumping. Cost records, yes, cost records, but audited cost records. Cost sheet is the summary of cost records. Okay, so it protects against the allegation of dumping. It protects against the anti-competition activities. So whatever the anti-competition activities, this cost audit also protects against the anti-competition activities, if any. Now, so what do you mean by anti-competition activity? So what do you mean by anti-competition activity? I'll explain you what is the meaning of anti-competition activity. Okay, so the question is, what do you mean by anti-competition activity? Anti-competition activity means to prove that you are not doing anything to destroy the market. So I'll give you an example. There are two companies, company A, company B. Company A, company B. And both the companies produce one product, which is product Z. And both the companies are only two competitors who are there in this particular product. No one else sells this product. Only company A and B sells this product, which is product Z. Okay. A and B both are producing the same product, which is product Z. Now, both of them are competing against each other. If Mr. A sells the good at 28 rupees. Then company B sells the goods at 27 rupees. Company A will further reduce the price to 26.5, so on and so forth. So there is a strict competition which is being faced by company A from company B, company A to company B. Strict competition is being faced, and because of the competition, the prices of the goods are as low as possible. A very reasonable price is there for company A as well as company B. Now, over the period of time, both of these companies decided to join hands and make one company, which is company C. In the chat box, please tell me, if this company C is created, then who will be at a loss? Whose loss is it? Who will be losing if the company C is produced? Either company A will be losing, or company B will be losing, or some other person will be losing. Who will be the loser in this case? If company A and B joins hand, who will be the loser in this case? Please tell me in the chat box. Because of this merger, who will be at a loss? Please tell me in the chat box. Very good answer. The loss will be of the consumers. Customers will be at a loss. How will customers will be at a loss? Customers will be at a loss. Why? Because the new company will now sell this product at rupees 150. Because now there is no competition. And when there is no competition, then obviously the newly formed company will have any and every price for this particular product. It can put any price to this particular product. And that is the reason why this merger is detrimental to Indian economy and to customers. And so the Competition Commission of India will not allow this merger to happen. This merger will be prohibited by the Government of India. The Government of India will not allow these two companies to merge together because they have created a virtual monopoly. So this is known as anti-competition activities. Now to curb these anti-competition activities, if both the companies are merging hands, and if both the companies are actually selling the goods, then both the companies are, if both the companies are fair, then if they are selling the goods at rupees 27, then it's okay. If they are selling goods at rupees 27. But how will you prove to Government of India that because of this merger, the customers will not be at a loss because 27 will be a reasonable price? How will you prove that to the customer, to the Government of India? How will you prove that 27 is the reasonable price? Please don't worry. There's no, hanky-panky stuff that we are doing. It's a reasonable price. Again, you will tell this by using cost sheet. Cost sheet will demonstrate that the cost of production of this product is rupees 24. You have added a reasonable profit of 3 rupees and you're selling it at 27 rupees. Cost sheet will demonstrate that you are not doing any activity that will damage the economy. You are not overcharging. You are not overcharging. This will be a proof which is given by, again, cost audit. So cost audit is definitely important for protecting against the anti-competition activity. Anti-competition activity will be curtailed if cost audit is done by every company. Then to determine the ALP, arm's length price, please tell me in the chat box, where have you read this word arm's length price? In which other subject have you read this word arm's length price? Please tell me in the chat box. Please tell me in the chat box, where have you read this word arm's length price? Have you ever heard this word? Please tell me in the chat box. Arm's length price. Have you ever heard this word? ALP, arm's length price. Transfer pricing, international taxation, very good. Direct taxation, very good. Very good, perfect. Wow, it seems that you are prepared well. In your group 3 also you prepared well, huh? Recovery of Vodafone Idea. That is why government is helping in recovery of Vodafone Idea. Very good answer, guys. In direct taxation, you have heard this word ALP, which means that when you are dealing with related entities, when you are dealing with related parties, people who are associated to you, then you have to charge a price which is at an arm's length distance, which is a fair price, which you would charge from any other person, any other third party. That same price should be charged by you from the related party also. And one of the important methods of determining the arm's length price is the cost plus method, which means whatever cost has been incurred, you add on a reasonable profit in that particular cost and then you determine the price. That will determine your arm's length price. Again, involvement of cost is there. So what will be of help? Cost audit and cost sheet will be of help. Cost audit will be able to tell you what is the cost of this particular product, and we'll add a reasonable profit on the cost, you'll get the ALP. So again, determination of ALP is also dependent on the cost which is being incurred by you. So yes, these are the advantages of cost audit. These are the advantages of cost audit. Okay, sir, got it. So we've done the objectives of cost audit and we have done the advantages of cost audit. Very, very important. Please mark this as very, very important. Although guys, even objectives are important. Okay, even objectives are important. See, they have been asked recently. June 25 examination, objectives of cost audit have been asked. Even utilities and advantages are important. These are asked in December 2004. Okay, long back. So not very important. But yes, December 24. The scope is asked in June 24 and December 24. So please note that all these aspects are really important from an exam standpoint. All these theoretical portions are important from an exam standpoint. And yes, you just have to write these pointers in this fashion only and you will be able to get marks. Okay, sir. जरूरी नहीं सब्जेक्ट चैप्टर का नाम पता है तो रिवीजन अच्छी हो. Okay. So my replica, my mirror image, CMA Nikkhil Gupta sir, some other channel who's used my name is saying that it's not necessary that if we know the subject name, then the preparation is also perfect. Okay, I get that. I get the hint. But you have no choice. Guys, you have no choice. Exam is round the corner. You have to make sure that your performance is good. You have to make sure that you study for 8 hours, 10 hours a day. You are not in CMA Intermediate. Let me remind you, you are in CMA Final. CMA Final deserves, CMA Final desires, and CMA Final definitely wants you to spend at least 10 hours a day in studying and revise the entire concepts again and again and again. At least 10 hours in studying is required in a CMA Final. Yes, I am safe. Yes, I compute. Transfer pricing. Okay, so what are the social objectives of cost audit? So guys, everything is not driven by commercials. Just checking whether cost is right or not, whether prices are right or not. That's not enough. I've told you, cost audit is something beyond cost accounting, something beyond just checking the books of accounts. There's some social objectives which are also to be followed by the cost auditor. Something that cost auditor has to do for the society. These are the social objectives. Some things that which cost auditor should do for benefit of the people at large, for benefit of the normal people, the common man. Cost auditor has to do certain social objectives. What are those social objectives? Facilitation of fixation of reasonable price. So to ascertain that every company is fixing a reasonable price at least for the basic things, okay? Like guys, things like medicine, food, shelter, clothes, pricing should be reasonable. And cost auditor should ensure that there's a reasonable price which is fixed to the goods and services, especially those goods and services which are where the prices are regulated, where the prices are regulated by Government of India. At least in those areas, at least in those industries, the cost auditor should ensure that reasonable prices are being fixed. No overcharging of prices is done by any person. Saving consumer from overcharging. Yes, verifying whether the pricing of the product is justified as per the product and quality as are concerned. So just to be in a consultant mode and also analyze whether the product price is okay as per their quantity and quality. Removing the disparities, if any, in the pricing of the product. If there's any difference in prices, if there's any overcharging happening, cost auditor has to remove it. Optimum utilization of enterprise resources. Resources are to be used optimally so that entire economy is also benefited, entire country is also benefited. So resources are to be used economically. It helps in cost plus contracts. Very, very important. There are certain construction contracts which are on the basis of cost plus 10% is equal to revenue of that construction company. So many construction contracts are on a basis of cost plus 10%. Even defense contracts, when we are procuring arms and ammunition from a foreign country or some Indian companies producing arms and ammunition, we always have a cost plus contract. So reasonable amount of profit is added to the cost and then you get the revenue of that particular company, the price which is being charged. Okay, especially in these cases, cost is very important. Cost is the relevant factor. Okay, so cost plus contracts, costing is very important. Cost audit and cost sheet is very important. Facilitating the global market cost competitiveness of the product, ensuring that globally the product is cost effective. If we are exporting that goods to outside the country, then the pricing should be appropriate. No foreign producer should be able to give the product at a lesser price than us. Otherwise, our company will be lacking behind. So to ensure that global market cost is met, cost competitiveness is there globally. Globally, the cost should be competitive enough. That should be the aim. Highlighting the areas of inefficiency and mismanagement for the benefit of the shareholders. So wherever the company is not, efficiently managing its resources, efficiently managing its, its entire scheme of the conduct, the production process, or the entire internal processes where management is lacking, there the auditor will highlight those areas and will ensure that those are rectified. So these are certain social objectives of auditor, which auditor doesn't do for cost audit purposes, but which auditor do for a society, so that better society is constructed. Yes, rule 30 is also relevant of GST. We'll be studying in CAS 4. Okay, so these were certain objectives and certain important aspects of cost auditor. What are the benefits of cost auditor? What are the objectives of cost auditor? What are the scope of cost auditor? We have done all these things related to cost audit. We have the social objectives also. Okay. So now we move on to, sir, who can be a cost auditor? What do you mean by cost auditor? So sir, if we qualify CMA Final, we are all in CMA Final, right? You all are in CMA Final. If you qualify CMA Final, then you become a cost auditor. Sir, even corporate development audit also does the same, right? What's the difference? So corporate development audit is, again, it is a small element of cost audit. Corporate development audit is also a small element of cost audit. Cost audit focuses on cost as well as development. However, corporate development audit only focuses on corporate development. So cost audit is a wholesome solution. Corporate development audit is just dealing with one part. Cost audit is dealing with many parts of the corporate. That is the difference. Okay. Now, what do you mean by cost auditor? Who is the cost auditor? Sir, if we qualify CMA, then we become a cost auditor. Answer is no. If you qualify CMA Final, you don't become a cost auditor. So when you qualify CMA, then the first thing that you need to acquire is a membership number. You will be given a membership number. Then you will become member of the CMA Institute. Okay. And you will be allowed to write CMA before your name. So if your name is Rohit, then you will become CMA Rohit. If your name is Janam Khan, then you will become CMA Janam Khan. That is how your membership number will change your name. Yes, today you are Mr. Rohit, Ms. Janam Khan. Tomorrow you will become CMA Rohit and CMA Janam Khan. Okay. So membership number will give you power to use CMA in front of your name and to tell to the entire world that yes, I am a CMA. So sir, now have you become a cost auditor? Answer is no, you have not become a cost auditor even now. No, you have not. After obtaining the membership number, you have two choices. Choice number one, you start your own practice. Choice number two, you go to industry and do a job. If you go to industry and do a job, then you will never be allowed to do cost audit because you are doing job. Person who's doing job is not allowed to do cost audit. But if you choose to go into your own practice, then you have to take another certification which is known as Certificate of Practice. And then you will be able to conduct cost audit. Second thing that you need is, after membership number, then you need is Certificate of Practice. Once you obtain certificate of practice, then you will be legally eligible to become a cost auditor. So are we a cost auditor now? Yes, sir, we are a cost auditor now. We have obtained certificate of practice. No, you are still not a cost auditor. You have got the authority to become a cost auditor, but you have not become a cost auditor. COP ensures you authority of becoming a cost auditor. Now, you have to go to a company and ask them to conduct cost audit. If you can conduct cost audit for that particular company or not, you have to take permission. So the board of directors will give you permission that yes, you can conduct cost audit for our company, and now you become a cost auditor. Yay! Hooray! We win! Yes, now you become a cost auditor. So what is a cost auditor? Cost auditor means you should have a COP plus board of directors should appoint you as a cost auditor, then you become a cost auditor. Unless and until board of directors appoint you as a cost auditor, you will not become a cost auditor. So cost auditor means COP holder, COP is required, then you need to get appointed as a cost auditor. So what is a cost auditor? Cost accountant in practice, which means you have a COP plus appointed by the board of directors as a cost auditor, then you become a cost auditor. So these two conditions are mandatorily required to become a cost auditor. This is how you become a cost auditor. Appointed by board of director of the company, applicable for cost audit. Yes. Appointed as cost auditor of the board of director by the board of director. Correct. COP is required. Yes. Correct. CMA Rohit after a few months. Yes. Elected by board of directors. Perfect. Elected by board of directors. Now, what is the eligibility of becoming a cost auditor? How will you become a cost auditor? What is the eligibility of becoming a cost auditor? How can we say that this person is a cost auditor? So a cost accountant within the meaning of CW Act, first of all, you should be. Then you should have a valid COP. You should have a certificate of practice. Of course, without certificate of practice, you cannot become a cost auditor. So first is that you should be categorized as a cost accountant. This you are categorized soon as you complete your CMA Final and get a membership number. Once you get a membership number, you become a cost accountant. But then you need to obtain the certificate of practice from ICI, Institute of Cost Accountants of India. He shall be individual or a firm of cost accountant. There are at least 2 partners. You can also, have a practice by, having a partner. So 2 partners can be there who can start their own practice, or even single CMA can start his practice. He can be a proprietor. Proprietor is also permitted and partner is also permitted. But in case of a partnership firm, one thing is very, very important that, you need to sign the cost audit report in your own handwriting. I'll give you an example of what kind of fraud was happening in the country before this law was enacted. So there is a CMA firm, A, B and Associates. 2 partners are there, Mr. A, Mr. CMA A, CMA B. 2 partners are there, CMA A and CMA B. There are 2 partners, CMA A, CMA B, and the name of the the firm is A, B and Associates. Okay. So A and B are the CMAs who are partners of CMA of A, B and Associates. This is a CMA firm. Now what happens is, Mr. A went to an audit, conducted an audit and drafted a cost audit report. He conducted the audit and drafted a cost audit report. But obviously guys, it's a big responsibility to draft a cost audit report, because cost audit report will be relied by Government of India to make decisions. So it's a big responsibility over whom? Over CMA A. Now, the moment when CMA A was signing the report, he got scared. He said, no. Although I have conducted cost audit of this company, but I don't want to sign because I don't want to take the responsibility. I don't want to take the onus of, this particular company. I don't want to sign the cost audit report. So Mr. A requested Mr. B, you sign the cost audit report. I've done everything, but you sign the cost audit report. Obviously, Mr. B will also not sign the cost audit report because Mr. B will also not want to take the responsibility of someone else's work. Mr. B was also not required to sign the cost audit report. So Mr. A was scared, Mr. B was scared of signing the cost audit report. So ultimately, what they decided is that this particular entity, which is their CMA firm, should sign the cost audit report. Just to avoid personal liability, CMA A and CMA B wanted the firm to sign the cost audit report. And how does a firm sign the cost audit report? By the common seal. By common seal. By testing the cost audit report by common seal. So every partner wants to wants to shrug away their responsibility of signing the cost audit report. So law was amended, and law now says that in case of a firm of cost accountants, in case where there is a partnership firm is appointed as a cost auditor is appointed, the cost auditor is the cost accounting firm. Authentication of cost audit report is to be done by signature of any one of the partners in his own handwriting. So at least one of the partners should sign the cost audit report. They should not just shrug away their responsibility to the firm. Firm is them only. They are firm is them. One and the same thing. So they should take responsibility. At least one of the partners should sign the cost audit report in its own hand on behalf of the firm. The report should not be signed merely by affixing firm's name, merely by stating that, oh, ABC and Associates is the auditor for this company. Merely by saying this, it is not enough. They should mention their name. Signing in the name of the firm and not taking signing on behalf of the partner. No. Signing the name of the firm. Yes, signing the name of the firm is not correct. Okay. Then where a firm includes a limited liability partnership, the appointment is done the cost auditor. Only partners who are cost accountants shall be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. So guys, there is a concept of limited liability partnership, and limited liability partnership can also have multidisciplinary partners, which means a limited liability partnership can have a CA as a partner, CS as a partner, lawyer as a partner, architect as a partner, company secretary or cost accountant as a partner. So there can be multiple partners having multiple degrees in a LLP. Again, cost audit report has to be signed only by a partner who is a CMA, who is a cost accountant. A chartered accountant cannot sign a cost audit report, or a company secretary cannot sign a cost audit report. That is a law which is created, because we don't want any person other than cost accountant to sign the cost audit report. Cost audit report is to be signed only by the cost accountant who is there as a partner. Okay, sir, got it. So if you got all the 4 points of eligibility, please write in the chat box, yes, sir. If you got answers to all the questions, if you understood all the concept, please write in the chat box, yes, sir. Oh, my head is spinning. I don't know. I'm feeling less of energy. Energy is quite less. I'm feeling less of energy. I'm feeling little less of energy. I don't know why. My head is spinning. Energy is. Can you guys give me some medicine that my head stop? I'm feeling less of energy. I'm feeling weak. I don't know. I feel that you should give me something that makes me energyful. No? Glucon-D pilo, Sirji. Glucon-D will not energize me. Glucon-D will not energize me. Something else will energize me. I am feeling little weak. You know what will energize me? Yes, very good. The thing that can energize me is your thumbs up. So if you tell me that, sir, yes, we are understanding everything that you are teaching, then it will energize me. If you are always telling me that, yes, sir, we understood the entire topic when I ask you, then that will energize me. That is the petrol for me. So for a teacher, for a mentor, what is energy? Yes, I agree that you have paid for these classes and that payment is also energy, but that is a tangible energy. The intangible energy that you can transfer to me while the class is going on, while the studying is going on, and while we both of us are studying, is the cooperation and is the communication that, yes, sir, we are understanding the stuff and we'll do great, we'll do best in our CMA final examination. That assurance can be given to you, by you to me by way of a thumbs up. So please, in the chat box, please put a thumbs up and multiple thumbs up, so it gives me a lot of energy. Your thumbs up will give me a lot of energy. So in the chat box, please put a lot of thumbs up. Yes, Bijit Gupta. Okay. Yes. Very good. लो पेट्रोल पी लो. Petrol is not my energy, huh? Jan Khan has sent petrol pumps. Petrol pump is not my energy, okay? Very good, perfect, okay. Now let us start one of the most important topics of our syllabus in the examination also. You know, theoretically this question can come. It never comes practically, but theoretically this particular, question comes in the examination. What are the disqualifications of an auditor? What are the situations where a particular person cannot become an auditor of a particular company? Cannot become an auditor of a particular company. What are those situations? Now, first of all, let me tell you, why are we studying these disqualifications? Why are we studying these disqualifications? I'll tell you the reason why disqualifications are required to be studied by you. Okay. So there's a company. Company's name is ABC Limited. Miss Priya is the CFO of this particular company. Miss Priya is the CFO of this particular company. Name of the company is ABC Limited. Okay, there's one very important question, and the question is that isn't it breaking the CMA schedule rules, not having partnership with other professional except CMA partner? So yes, there are two conflicting things which are there. One conflicting view is that one conflict is that CMA schedules doesn't allow a CMA to become a partner with any other profession, like CA and CMA cannot be a partner according to the CMA schedule. But in the Companies Act, they are actually allowing CMAs to become partners with CA using LLP, multidisciplinary LLP. So I'll tell you, in today's world, it is not possible that CA and CMA becomes partner and conduct cost audit and conduct SAT audit under the same firm. That's not possible today because of the restrictions which are there in the schedule. But Companies Act is permitting this particular activity. So what will happen? Cost audit will not be done by the CMA who's a partner with the CA. So what? At least the cost auditor can give you cost consultancy. Cost sheet can be prepared by that particular cost accountant. So if you don't want to conduct cost audit, and if you want to provide other services which are related to cost audit, then that you can do under an LLP. That is the benefit. So LLP is created and multidisciplinary and LLP is created. Of course, they cannot do cost audit because all the partners are not cost accountants, so they cannot do cost audit for sure, but they can provide other services. And guys, slowly, steadily in future, there will be an amendment in the schedules also. Schedule in future will permit that, yes, even a multidisciplinary partnership firm can have multiple disciplinary professionals, and cost audit can also happen in that particular firm. This will happen in future. Some amendment is bound to happen in future. This all is also possible. This is quite possible. Okay. All right, sir. Got it. Okay. Now, ABC Limited, Miss Priya is the CFO of this particular company. Now, the company is falling under purview of cost audit. The company is falling under purview of cost audit. Husband of Miss Priya, Miss Priya's husband, Mr. Atul, is a CMA having his own practice. Is a CMA having his own practice. Okay. Now, Miss Priya appoints Mr. Atul as the cost auditor of ABC and Company. Miss Priya appoints Mr. Atul as the cost auditor of ABC Limited. Now, you tell me in the chat box, what is the problem with this particular transaction? Do you think this is right? Do you think this is right? Or do you think this is wrong? If wrong, then what is the problem with this particular transaction? Why Mr. Atul should not become the auditor of ABC Limited? What is the reason why Mr. Atul should not become the auditor of ABC Limited? Please tell me in the chat box. Please tell me in the chat box. Why should Mr. Atul not become the cost auditor of ABC Limited? Is there any problem with this particular transaction or not? You have to tell me in the chat box. मेरे सवालों का जवाब दो. Yes, I need an answer. I need an answer. Do you think Mr. Atul is validly becoming a cost auditor, and do you think that he should become a cost auditor? What is the problem with Mr. Atul becoming a cost auditor of this particular company? Tell me in the chat box. Okay. No is okay. Okay. So first problem is, as correctly identified, independence. The problem is independence. Mr. Atul is husband of Miss Priya. Mr. Atul is husband of Miss Priya. The first problem is independence. So what do you mean by independence? Independence means that if Mr. Atul is husband of Miss Priya, then Mr. Atul will not give a free independent opinion to ABC Limited. Because Mr. Atul knows that if he gives a qualified report, if he gives a report which is against the company, then it can actually let Miss Priya lose her job. If there's any error which is there in the cost accounts in this particular company, Miss Priya can lose her job. Mr. Atul knows that because Mr. Atul is the husband of Miss Priya. So in this particular situation, no, he cannot, because he is a related person of employee of the company. In this particular situation, appointing Mr. Atul as the cost auditor of the company should not be there, guys. Should not be there, because Mr. Atul is related to an employee of the company, and he will not be able to give an unbiased opinion on the cost accounts of the company, because he knows that if he gives a qualification, if he points out any error in the cost accounts of ABC Limited, if he point out any any fraud in the books of accounts of ABC Limited, Miss Priya will lose her job. So Mr. Atul will never give a unbiased opinion. Opinion of Mr. Atul will be biased. Opinion of Mr. Atul will be biased. So law says that if two people are related to each other, if company's employee and employees, the cost auditor is related to each other, then that person cannot be the cost auditor of that particular company. So when Mr. Atul is husband of Miss Priya, he cannot be the cost auditor of this particular company. Although Mr. Atul has got a COP, Mr. Atul can be appointed by the board of directors as the cost auditor of this particular company, but he should not be appointed as the board of director because he is ineligible. He is disqualified because his opinion will not be an independent opinion. It will be a dependent opinion. It will be a biased opinion. It will be a it will be a influenced opinion. Miss Priya will influence Mr. Atul to give a wrong opinion, and that is the reason why Mr. Atul is disqualified from becoming the cost auditor. So Companies Act has given you a list of situations where people are disqualified from becoming the cost auditor, and this is the list of cases where this disqualification arises. Okay. Yes, you have to just learn this particular list, and the examination, in the examination you can just reproduce it. Number one, body corporate. Body corporate means companies. Body corporate means companies. So a company cannot be a cost auditor of a particular other company. Only an individual or a partnership firm can be cost auditor of another company. A company cannot be a auditor of a different company. Okay, I'll give an example. This is HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited. Hindustan Unilever Limited. This is of course a company. And this is the company ABC Limited, where A, B and C, all three are CMAs. ABC Limited is there, where all three A, B and C are CMAs. Now, this company cannot be an auditor of HUL. Only if this is a partnership firm or they are individuals, only then they can become cost auditor of HUL. a company cannot become cost auditor of HUL? Can you please give me a reason why this restriction is there in law that a company cannot be auditor of a company? Why is there a restriction in law? Separate legal entity. Okay, separate legal entity is yes, but please explain little more. What do you mean by separate legal entity? So yes, ABC Limited has got a separate legal entity different from its shareholders. Different from its shareholders. That is true. But can you explain more? Please tell me why a company cannot be an auditor of a company. Only a partnership firm or an individual can be auditor of a company. Please explain in little more detail. Please explain a little more detail why this happens. Reason is very simple, guys. All the shareholders of the company are actually the owners of the company, and they have got a limited liability. They've got a limited liability. So if they conduct any fraud, if the shareholders conduct any fraud, then their liability, their responsibility is limited to the share capital which they have induced in the company. So government can actually extract money out of them to the extent of their share capital in the company. That's it, nothing more than that. But we want a setup where if auditor does anything which is wrong, then we can even sue him for his personal property, which means we can go to his home and sue him in his home. We can sell off his property, we can sell off his house, we can sell off his personal assets to recover our money, the loss that has been incurred. So if an auditor signs a report which is wrong, okay, an auditor gives opinion, right opinion in a wrong report, okay, then his liability should be unlimited. We want unlimited liability. And in case of a company, the shareholder's liability is limited, the owner's liability is limited. Therefore, the law has restricted a company to become a auditor. Company cannot become an auditor. We want liability to be unlimited so that people are afraid of doing wrong things. They are afraid of attesting a balance sheet which is wrongly prepared. They should be afraid. They should not be, signing the balance sheets right away without being afraid. They should be afraid. We want people to be afraid of doing wrong things, and therefore a company cannot be an auditor. Yes, partnership firm can be an auditor. Partnership firm which has 4 partners, A, B and C. This can be an auditor. Perfect, no problem. Individual can be an auditor. Perfect, no problem, because they have unlimited liability. But not a company. Company cannot be an auditor. Company cannot be an auditor. Okay. Yes. So that is the first restriction. Restriction is that a body corporate cannot be an auditor. But sir, LLP can be an auditor. But LLP is also limited liability. Then why did they permit LLP to be an auditor? It's written except LLP. LLP can be an auditor. But sir, LLP has got limited liability. Then why did they allow LLP as auditor? It has limited liability. The point is that limited liability should not be there. Liability should be unlimited. Then why LLP is given as a this exception? Why is LLP can be an auditor? Because in case of LLP also, guys, there's one partner which is the designated partner who's got unlimited liability. So we at least want one partner to have unlimited liability, so we can extract their personal belongings also if they do any wrong in doing audit of any particular company. Because guys, if a company, if a wrong is done to a company, then entire shareholders are at a loss, okay? And sometimes shareholders are many people who have invested their money in the organization. So limited liability also, limited liability partnership also has one partner which is designated partner who's got unlimited liability. Therefore, it's okay if we have cost auditor as a LLP. LLP cost auditor is permitted, but company cost auditor is not permitted. Okay, sir, got it. An officer or employee of the company? Yes, you cannot be an officer or employee of the company. Suppose I am, employed in Reliance as a accounts manager. I also have a partnership firm, but I cannot do audit of that particular company. Even my partner cannot do audit of that particular company. Even my employee cannot do audit of that particular company where I am employed. So if I am employed in Reliance, then even my partner cannot do audit of Reliance. I cannot do audit of Reliance for sure. My partners cannot do audit of Reliance. My employee can also not do audit of employee. So my partner also should not do, my employee should not do audit of employee of that particular company. So an officer or employee of the company, and partner and employee of the company. Third, a person who holds any security or interest in the group company. So any person who is holding any kind of security or interest in any of the group companies. So in that particular company, I am not holding anything, but In the group company, I'm holding a particular substantial part. I'll give you an example. Okay, I'll give you an example. So this is a company ABC Limited. I am an auditor. I want to audit this particular company. Mr. A wants to audit this particular company, but Mr. A already has shares of ABC Limited. Mr. A already has shares of ABC Limited. Shares of ABC Limited is are there with A. So can A be the cost auditor of the company? A is CMA, practicing CMA. Can A be the auditor of the company? No, sir, not at all. Because then A will be biased in his approach. A will not give a clear opinion. A will not give a unbiased opinion. So A cannot be an auditor of the company for sure. Now, next question is that A is the employee of the company. He cannot be an auditor of the company. Okay. Now the next is, sir, A has shares of holding company of ABC. A doesn't have shares of ABC company. A has shares of holding company of ABC. So A is not directly carrying any shares of ABC Limited, but A is carrying shares of holding company of ABC Limited. Holding company of ABC Limited is XYZ. Even then, A cannot be auditor of ABC company. Because again, ABC company's transaction will somewhere be influenced by the holding company. Some transaction will be with the holding company also. And a qualification in ABC Limited's report will mean that even shares of XYZ Limited will vary. So A, if he becomes an auditor of any of the group company, then entire group he cannot be an auditor. So simple conclusion is that a person who holds any security and interest in any group company, if you are holding any interest in the group company, then you cannot be an auditor of that particular company. For the entire group, you are disqualified. For entire group, you cannot be an auditor. Even your partner and your relative should not be holding any shares in the group company. In the group company, your shares should not be there in any of the group companies. Then relative of partner of such a firm which holds any security or interest in any group company. Now, if you are a related or a partner of a firm, then up to 1 lakh rupees face value of shares are allowed for you. So suppose there is a company. Suppose there is a company ACB Limited. I want to audit that particular company. My name is CMA. I want to audit this particular company. Okay. Now, my wife, Mrs. A, holds some shares of this particular company. So guys, for relative of A cannot hold any share. Even 1 rupee share cannot be held by A for sure. But for relative of A, the restriction is something else. Relative of the person who's going to be the auditor, that relative can hold shares up to face value of rupees 1 lakh. A relative of a particular auditor can hold shares up to face value of 1 lakh. But remember, this is face value. This is not market value. It is face value and not market value. That is an important thing that you need to understand. That face value should be up to 1 lakh of the shares if relative is holding it. Okay. If any practicing CMA holds constitutional post in government, is he eligible to continue to be an auditor? So if a practicing CMA holds a constitutional provision, then ideally he is first of all required to surrender his COP. But if he is not surrendering his COP, if he is not surrendered his COP, then he can continue. He can continue to be the cost auditor. No problem with that. Cost being appointed as a constitutional person doesn't debar the cost auditor from becoming a cost auditor. Okay. So now the relative can hold 1 lakh rupees shares in ABC Limited up to extent of 1 lakh rupees. Only face value is to be considered and not the market value. That is important point to be noted over here. Okay. So what it says is relative of partner of such firm which holds any security interest in any group company which is more than 1 lakh rupees, he is restricted from becoming the cost auditor. So for the cost auditor himself, the restriction is 1 rupee. Even if 1 rupee share is there, then he is restricted. But for a relative, the restriction is up to 1 lakh rupees. Up to 1 lakh rupees, you can hold the shares, but more than 1 lakh rupees, you cannot hold the shares. Then a person indebted to a company, indebted to any group company for more than 5 lakhs, or a person who has given guarantee or security on behalf of the group company for more than 1 lakh rupees. Now, if you have taken any loan, if the auditor has taken any loan from any of the company or any of the group companies, then again, guys, the restriction applies. So, a person who has given guarantee or security on behalf of the group company more than 1 lakh, again, restriction applies. A person indebted to the company for more than 1 lakh rupees of loan, then he is also cannot conduct cost audit of that particular company. Next, a person or firm having business relationship with any of the group companies. If a person has any business relationship with any of the group companies, what do you mean by business relationship? Commercial transactions. So, other than permissible professional services and transaction in normal course of business, company at ALP. So, any kind of business relationship if you have with any company and you are supplying goods and services to that particular company, you are restricted to become the cost auditor of that particular company. But if you supply it in normal course of business, then it's okay. Okay. So suppose I'm a CMA, okay, and I also supply raw material to the company. Now, I don't usually supply raw material to anyone else. I just supply raw material to this particular company. That's an unusual transaction. It's not in my normal course of business. It is not in my normal course of business. So I cannot be the cost auditor of this particular company. Suppose apart from having COP, I usually supply raw material to people, okay. However, it is not possible because COP restricts you from doing any commercial activity. But I assume that after having COP, I also supply raw material. Then if I supply raw material to any company, then it's okay. Then it's not a problem. But if you supply, if you supply the raw material to a company which is not in your normal course of business, then you cannot be the cost auditor. Then director or KMP of the company, if you are director or KMP, key managerial personnel of the company, you cannot be the cost auditor, and even their relative are restricted from becoming the cost auditor of that particular company. And rightfully so, guys. If you are the director of the company, then you will not qualify your report. You will not report any wrong thing that is being done by the company. You will not do that. You will refrain from doing that. So definitely this rule should be there. A person who's in full-time employment elsewhere, a person who's doing job somewhere else, ideally that person will not be given COP. Okay, ideally that person will not be given COP. But still, Companies Act says that the entire ineligibility arises if you are fully employed somewhere else. A person who already holds audit of 20 companies, so this is a restriction which is put, so that equal work is distributed amongst all the cost accountants in the country. You are allowed to do cost audit of only 20 companies, and that limit is the upper limit that is decided by the Government of India under the Companies Act. And this 20 companies should exclude certain companies. What are the exclusions? Exclusion is one-person company, you can have unlimited one-person company audit, it's okay. Dormant company, you can have unlimited audits of dormant company, it's okay. Small companies, you can have unlimited, it's okay. And private companies having less than 100 crore paid up share capital, that is also okay. Private company having less than 100 crore paid up share capital, that is also okay. Okay, so you can conduct cost audit of these companies in an unlimited manner. Unlimited cost audit can be conducted for these particular company. that the finance minister of Nepal is also a CMA. Okay. So being a CMA doesn't bar you from holding any, any of the responsibilities elsewhere. Okay, so this is a restriction, maximum 20 companies except for these companies. These companies you can do unlimited audit, for else the limit of 20 is required. A person held guilty of fraud, if you are held guilty of any kind of fraud, if you have done any fraud, be it financial fraud or commercial fraud, you will be not be required to, you will not be eligible for doing the cost audit. And last is, if you are providing these services, these are not restricted services. If you are providing these services to any company, then you will not be allowed to conduct cost audit of any of the company, if you are providing these services. Accounting and bookkeeping services, if you are providing internal audit services, design implementation of financial information services, actuarial services, investment advisory, if you are providing these services to any company, you cannot be an auditor for that particular company. Sir, why these things are restricted? This threat is known as self-review threat, which means that if I give you test of cost audit and I ask you to check the test yourself, will you be able to do justice to your your paper? Answer is no. I think you will give 22 out of 20 marks in your test if you check your test paper yourself. You will never be able to cull out your own mistakes. You will never be able to cull out your own problems. So if you do bookkeeping of a particular company, then will you be able to say that, oh no, this is the error which is there in book which I only maintained? You will not be able to say that. If you have prepared cost sheet of a particular company, if you have done cost accounting of a particular company, will you be able to say that, oh, this is wrong, I have only done, but this is wrong? You will never be able to do that. So you are restricted to perform these managerial services in any company if you want to do cost audit of that particular company. If you want to do cost audit, don't give these services to that company. Don't prepare their books of accounts. You cannot prepare their books of accounts if you are wanting to have cost audit of that particular company. This is known as self-review threat. Yes, if 10 years are lapsed, then after that you can conduct cost audit of that company where fraud is detected. So 10 years is a period that you will be debarred. After that you will be able to do the cost audit. Skeptical होकर भी check नहीं करेगा. Yes, you will not be carefully be checking that particular company's books of accounts. Okay, sir, got it. And one very, very important thing, the financial auditor of a company cannot be the cost auditor of that particular company. If you are already the financial auditor, then you cannot be the cost auditor of that particular company. This is a law. Again, same logic. Financial auditor is already seeing the entire books of accounts, has already checked the entire books of accounts. Now he'll be a little lethargic in checking the cost accounts. He'll be like, oh, I've already checked, everything is fine, I'll not require to do it again. So he'll be a little lazy in conducting the cost audit. So a financial auditor cannot be a cost auditor of a particular company. That is why the restriction is there. Okay, sir, got it. So these were the disqualifications of a cost auditor, and please note that December 24, this particular question has come in the examination. Very, very important from an exam standpoint. Learn any 6. Okay, don't learn all, learn any 6. But yes, read all. Learn any 6, but read all, because if any question comes from a specific disallowance, you should be able to answer it. Read all, learn any 6. You can learn any 6 of them. Now, what are the powers and rights of a cost auditor? Of course, first is to access the books of accounts. The auditor has the right to access the books of accounts of a particular company, because unless auditor is given the books of accounts, how will we do audit? So books of accounts should be given to the auditor. He has right to inquire. He has right to take information about the books of accounts, about the contracts. Information explanation is required to be given to the cost auditor. He has right to report to the members. He has got the right that he can report to the members if any wrong thing is happening. If wrong thing is happening, then he will be, has got a right to write to the members of the board of directors. Right to lien the books of accounts. So auditor has the right to retain the books of accounts, to retain the custody of the books of accounts unless he is paid his fees. So the auditor has the right to take his books of, take the company's books of accounts and keep it with themselves unless and until the fees is paid. So this kind of right is there with the auditor. Conduct test audit, surprise audit, supplementary audit. So the auditor has the right, in case of a government company, auditor can also conduct supplementary audit. Additional audit can be conducted by the auditor. Sign the audit report. He has right to sign the audit report. Attend the audit meeting. It is the right of the cost auditor to attend the audit committee meeting. However, let me tell you, out of my practical experience, cost auditors are sometimes not even invited in audit meeting. The cost auditor should ideally be invited in the meeting and should attend the meeting also. But cost auditor is sometimes not invited in the meeting also. Right to be indemnified against the expenses incurred for defending any suit against the auditor. So if if any legal case is filed against the auditor, auditor has the right to recover money for fighting that case from the client itself. Client has filed a case against the auditor. Auditor will hire a lawyer. He will incur the expenses, and ultimately, suppose he wins, then the entire cost of that particular case should be borne by the company. Company should reimburse the auditor for the fees of the lawyer for the suit expenses which have been incurred by the auditor. Company should reimburse to the auditor if the auditor wins the case. So guys, actually auditor is indemnified from many things, because if auditor is not indemnified of these things, then he'll be afraid. Auditor will be afraid. We don't want auditor to be afraid. We don't want auditor to restrict his work because he's afraid. We don't want that. Okay. Meeting में भी नहीं बुलाते. Yes, they don't even invite in meeting. That is true. This is the fact, guys. This is the fact. All right. Next is, what are the duties of cost auditors? Of course, with great powers come great duties. There are some responsibilities obviously of the auditor. Auditor has the responsibility to inquire in the relevant matter before issuing the cost audit report. So auditor should inquire in the books of accounts, in the costing books. He should analyze the costing books in great detail before reporting it to the government of India. So he should do the analysis, relevant analysis required to be done in great detail. That is a duty. Report on relevant matters related to cost statements, especially matters specified in CARR 2014 and cost accounting standards. So the auditor should report the matters. He should conclude on the matters related to cost statement and report it to Government of India. Sign the audit report. It is duty of auditor to sign the audit report. So signing audit report is also a duty and a power. Both is there. Signing of the report is both. Okay. To comply with auditing standards, the auditor should comply with auditing standards, and we'll be studying auditing standards in our class also. Issue cost audit report within 180 days of end of the financial year. It is a responsibility of the auditor that within time the cost audit report is to be issued 180 days from end of the financial year. We'll be studying this timeline ahead in our chapters also. Expected amount involved. In case of a fraud, very, very important. Please write very, very important. The examiner can ask you a specific question related to fraud. What are the duties of the auditor with respect to fraud? A specific question can be asked from this thing. Very, very important. Okay. If the expected amount of fraud is less than 1 crore, then the auditor should report the fraud to the board within 2 days of his knowledge of fraud. And nature of fraud is to be described in the report. Approximate amount of the fraud should be described in the report, and parties involved should be described in the report. So if fraud is less than 1 crore, small fraud, report it to board of directors. But if fraud is big fraud, more than 2 crore rupees involved, big fraud, more than 2 crore rupees involved, then expected thing is that auditor should forward his report first to the board of directors. Then he should within next 45 days forward the report to the ministry, secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So yes, if it's a big fraud, then first report it to board of directors, then report it to ministry. And latest time which is given is 60 days, max 60 days. The auditor should report the fraud to the ministry. That's a very, very important thing. So report frauds first of all to the board. If less than 1 crore, then only to the board. If more than 1 crore, then first of all to the board, then to the ministry within 60 days to the ministry. Board is to be given time of 45 days to respond to the allegations of the auditor with respect to fraud. Okay, so this is very, very important, guys. Please mark very, very important in this particular section, because a question in the examination can come from this particular section. It's really, really important. Okay, so these are the rights and powers, duties, and yes, section 148 will come on section 148. But first, let me discuss this liabilities of an auditor. So guys, this is an important concept which I have given in my book, okay, as past examination question number 1. So what are the liabilities, contractual and statutory liabilities of an auditor? If auditor goes wrong, then what will happen? If auditor goes wrong, then what will happen? What are the statutory liabilities? What are the punishments which can be given to the auditor? Statutorily means by law. And contractual obligation means the client who is the auditee. What are the punishments that auditee can give? Can auditee take the auditor to the court? So these are the liabilities of the auditor, which means the punishments of the auditor which can be given to the auditor in case there is some error which is done by the auditor. Then what can happen? So first of all, the statutory liabilities, one is given by the Companies Act itself, civil liabilities and criminal liabilities. Okay, civil liabilities, which means misstatement in prospectus. The auditor has misstated something in the prospectus, or the auditor has done some negligence. He has not undertaken his work efficiently. Then what can happen? Auditor is liable for any loss incurred by a person who has subscribed for the securities on the basis of the misleading prospectus, which is certified by the auditor. So the auditor is liable for the loss. Auditor has to reimburse the loss that has been incurred by the shareholders for misleading prospectus. Then if some negligence has happened, then auditor is liable for misappropriation of funds in case of liquidation of a company. For example, if company is liquidating, okay, an auditor has retained some of the assets with him and not released it for the shareholders, then that has also to be made good by the auditor. Auditor is liable for that loss as well. Then criminal liabilities, misstatement in prospectus. So, criminal liability means if the auditor has, in case of a fraud, the auditor has misstated in the prospectus, which means he has misstated something really big, some really big kind of a fraud has been conducted by the auditor. Auditor is liable to penalty and prosecution in case of a fraud. And in case of non-compliance with section 39, 144, 145, which is the qualification, the restrictions, then the auditor is liable to penalty and prosecution in case of defaults under these sections. So these are big frauds, okay, which the auditor has done. Then criminal liabilities are also there, and civil liabilities are of course there. Then apart from Companies Act, what are the liabilities? So guys, all the acts of the country like Income Tax Act, Life Insurance Act, Chartered Accountants Act, Banking Regulation Act, all the acts of the company or of the country have got some punishment for the auditors who are not doing their work well, who are doing some hanky-panky stuff with respect to their work. All acts have got some kind of liability. So no one will leave you. If you are found doing something wrong, no one will leave you. And this is an important question from an exam standpoint. It can come in the examination. Okay. So auditor is liable for false statement declaration. Chartered Accountants Act also has got professional misconduct in paragraphs. Auditor is liable for false statement declaration. So every act has got some liability for the auditor. And last but not all the least, contractual liability, which client can impose on the auditor or which the auditee can impose on the auditor. And that liability is auditor is liable for any breach of terms of contract or insider trading. So the auditor has got a lot of information about the company. If he leaks it, then share prices of the company can fall or rise. So if the auditor is found guilty of insider trading, then the company can sue the auditor. Yes, the company. Contractual liability means company has contract with the auditor to audit. Company can sue the auditor if auditor is found guilty of insider trading, which means secret information of the company is given to the competitors or given out in market. Then contractual liability is also there. So yes, cost audit looks fancy. Audit looks very fancy. Oh sir, we have so much of power. We go to the CFO room. We sit with the CFO. We have so much of power. You see the power, but the liabilities which are there, with the cost audit, they are also immense. They are also huge. And now last but not all the least, the mother section, section 148 of the Companies Act, which actually deals with the cost audit provisions. So yes, unless and until there is an enabling provision, audit is useless. And we have the enabling provision. Our enabling provision is section 148, which gives us the power to conduct cost audit of a particular company. And this is the enabling provision. This is the mother section of our of our cost audit and of our syllabus also. And yes, in the next chapter, we are going to great detail of these three sections. Over here, we are going to just briefly see what you mean by 148.1, 148.2, 148.3. 148.1 relates to cost records. You need to prepare cost records of a particular company if these conditions are satisfied. Then we have subsection 2, cost audit. You are required to conduct cost audit of a particular company if these conditions are satisfied. Okay, you are covered in the subsection 1 and you are meeting the threshold criteria. And subsection 3 is related to cost auditor. who can be a cost auditor and who can appoint the cost auditor. This we have already seen, that cost accounting in practice plus appointed by the board of directors is the cost auditor. Guys, this particular chart I am leaving unexplained, I am leaving untouched. Why? Because in the next chapter we are going to only study this entire chart. This entire chart is we are going to study in the next chapter. So I'm not in detail discussing this particular chart in this particular chapter. We'll be studying in our next chapter. Okay. So yes, next session will happen tomorrow. Today's session is over. But before ending today's session, guys, please commit to me. Please promise to me in the chat box. Will you revise today's session before coming to the next session? Because that will be really useful for me. Please promise in the chat box that yes, sir, we will revise the current session before coming to the next session. And we will also do the MCQs which are there as a part of the practice question that I have given after the chapter. After the chapter, there are plethora of questions, practice question, there are MCQs, there are true and false. Please commit that before coming to the next class. You will do this all on your own. Please commit. Please write promise. If you agree with me, please write promise in the chat box. Please write promise in the chat box. If you agree with me that yes, sir, we will revise before coming to the next session. Please write promise in the chat box. Thank you so much, sir. I will revise before next session. Very good. Yes, sir, we will revise by heart today's session. Very good. Perfect. My copyright partner has not said anything. Huh? CMA Nikkhil Gupta, sir. You please say whether you will revise today's session before coming to the next session or not. Please say yes or no. Yes, very good. Okay. So that's all for this particular session, guys. We'll be meeting in a subsequent session. Till that time, all the very best and happy studying. Bye-bye. See you in the next session.